fellow gardeners and homesteaders. Gonna do another garden update video here, and everything is not quite as beautiful as what it was when I did the last video a couple weeks ago. It's getting to that point in the summer where things like fungus and bugs and all kinds of things can come in and make your garden a little less, I don't know if appetizing is the right word, but not quite as lovely to look at in some cases. Plus, I haven't been out here as much in the last couple weeks because of heat and family issues, or not issues, but family goings-ons, birthday parties and whatnot. So tonight we're coming out and we're gonna harvest some stuff, and I thought I'd kind of show you where things are at right now. So let's take a look. So this is still my favorite section of the garden right here. This entranceway really came out kind of pretty much exactly the way I wanted it to. The greasy grit beans grew up the trellis really well, and they're really coming in. We're gonna pick a bunch of these tonight, but you can see there are tons of these. And I tasted one last night, and you can maybe kind of see here with some of these, hopefully. You see all the beans in there. And, you know, with regular green beans, when they get like that, they're too big. They get kind of tough and not good to eat. But with greasy grit beans, you kind of can cook these down. In a lot of cases, you add a little onion, some bacon or ham in there, if you are not vegetarian, and cook them down for a while. The beans that are inside, the seeds, I guess, get kind of creamy. And even eating them at this stage, they are not tough. So let's pick one here. These do have to be strung on both sides, I think, when I was messing with it last night. So, you know, it's not just like snapping green beans like your regular green bean. They have a string that runs down either side. You need to pull that off so that you're not trying to deal with that when you're trying to eat them. Let's take a look. So when you're just snapping these off here, and of course I didn't get the string for the video, but there we go. So you see it's got this string that runs down, and there's one on this side. And now it's good to go. So they get the name greasy grit because they're supposed to be more shiny, the outside skin of them, I guess. I don't see that they're that much different than a regular green bean in color or shine. So they taste just like a green bean. When you're eating them raw. And I've found that with a lot of the different beans of this type. Last year I grew a purple bean. When you eat them fresh, they taste just like a regular green bean. But with this one here, I am getting a little bit more of the beans inside, and they do have a creaminess to them. It's good. But they're not tough at all. Very crunchy. And mild green bean flavor. So yeah, I'm gonna pick a whole bunch of these. Got all kinds hanging in here. Now with the greasy grit beans, I did get this, which I showed in the last video. You know, it's got this yellowing to the leaves, and I don't know what that came from. It's some kind of fungus, but it's slowly working its way up. I trimmed a lot of it out, but there's more coming back. This side got hit worse than the other side did. As you see over here, it's starting on this side. There's a few in there, but these leaves are much healthier looking. But we got all kinds of beans hanging up in there. So the eggplant, still got some of the Antigua coming in. I've already picked just off of these two plants, probably I think like 8 or 10. And look, there's a bunch more coming in, but we got stupid potato beetles that are just tearing it up, along with the flea beetles that moved in as well. But so far these have hung on pretty well considering the amount of pests that have been in here. And then you know, I lost the one black beauty eggplant, but the little one hung on and got a nice one hanging there. It's ready to be picked. Peppers. Look at all the red fire pepper, ring of fire peppers in there. Got some there, and then a whole bunch right back in there. And I've already picked some of those, and I have them hanging up drying. And then I kind of just let them dry for a little bit in the kitchen, hanging up, and then I'm going to put them in the food dryer so that I can grind them down into like a cayenne type powder. And then back in here, our red Marconis are finally starting to turn red, getting some color to them. So I'm interested in trying what they taste like. They're supposed to be more mild, kind of more like a bell pepper, but with I think a different flavor, but I haven't tried one yet, so we'll see. And back in there is the poblanos buried. But I have picked some poblanos, and I'm going to make some stuff with those. And I've got a bunch hanging over here. This plant fell over, but it's got some smaller poblanos on it, and I can maybe make a sauce or something out of those, and then use the larger ones for stuffing. This side of the tomatoes, this was the group that was planted later than the first set in the other bed. Some of these, I'm sad that they fell over today. They've grown way up past the cattle panel, but they're probably a good 7 feet tall at least, I think, if they're standing up straight. And I've only gotten a couple red ones out of this side. Most of the tomatoes I've picked so far are from the other side. So you can see there is some coming in. This is one of those subarctics. I'm going to can those. I'm sad they're so much smaller than I thought they were going to be, but I can can those whole. And then got some nice big beefsteaks in here. Look at this bad boy. Can't wait till he turns red. That's one of my bigger ones, I think. And then we got a good sized one down here. This one's almost ready, turning red. And then here is some more of the pink Berkeley tie-dye tomatoes. That one's probably ready, actually. The crazy thing with these is I go by feel. This one's got some marks on it, some bugs have been on it, but still usable. But what I was saying is that these are, because they have these green stripes in them, it's, you know, I'm always like, oh, are these ready yet? When you feel them and then cut them open, man, I am definitely going to grow these again next year, because they are just a meaty, juicy tomato. They're really good. Great slicer for sandwiches or sides with your dinner. And this is more of the beefsteak down here that still have a ways to go. There's another big one down there. That bad boy. So. One thing I talked about in the last video was I didn't understand about these sunflowers because they had died off so early, and then I was saying that they didn't have any seeds in them. However, they do have seeds in them. They're just, normally I've grown the great big giant sunflowers, and I haven't done much with like these little ones. I only planted a couple here and there. So it's kind of funny that these are the ones that have actually sprouted on their own, and we're all volunteers this year. Let me see if I can find up in here. The birds have picked away a lot of them. But let's see. Okay, so I don't know if this is going to come in very well, but right in here, there is a bunch of little seeds in there. And I was trying to pick one out to show you, but I'm having a hard time getting them out because they're not dried. If I cut it off and dried it, you know, I could pop them out and show you, but you know, it's not worth it for these little tiny heads. I just let the finches and the cardinals and the blue jays go at them. But I think with these, because they started so early, they've ended their cycle earlier, and that's why they're, you know, looking all sad and not so pretty anymore. but now they're getting all their seeds in there. So we'll leave the seeds in there for the birds. One thing I'm sad about here is these Kajari melons. I don't know what has happened here. I don't know if it was some leaf wilt, or I think maybe more so was that some squash borer bugs have got in here, because I found some on my zucchini. And this side is really dying off. I don't know if it's going to hang on, which is sad, because I've got some ones, you know, here, and some other ones hanging up in here that just, you know, they have to turn orange before they're ready to be picked. And I don't know if they're going to hang on long enough for me to even get any ripe ones. So this one looks like maybe it could start turning soon. It's basically an orange and green stripe once it's ready. And this one's starting to lighten up a little bit, so I don't know if that's going to happen or not. This side is doing better. You know, we still got new growth coming up the trellis. And there's some little ones hanging in here. There's a bunch of new little tiny ones over there. Got a good sized one right there. They're such a pretty melon, and I hope that these survive long enough for me to harvest some. This one down in here, get this stuff out of the way, has grown in between the trellis panels and is completely stuck in the trellis. So I don't know if I'll get anything out of that one or not. The sunflower that fell over down here in this overgrown path now is the last remaining sunflower that has actually got all kinds of pretty flowers still on it. I guess because it started later, even though it fell over and looked like it was going to die. You know, there's a bee there having some dinner. So that's pretty cool that it survived. I'm glad I just left it there to grow. This bed is a mess, and again, I think the squash borer bugs have got into it. This is a kombucha melon. That one's getting really huge. I gotta get a sling on that one, a melon sling to help support it. But some of the vines in here are really dying off. There's another one, and then another big one hanging back in there. So hopefully those also hang on for a while. There's also the lemon squash that are mixed in here, and I've got a couple down in here. There's one there that's ready to be picked down here on the ground. And another little one over there that will be ready soon, hopefully. And then there's a little one coming in. So, and I've already picked a couple off of those, so I did get some lemon squash this year. The okra. This okra has been about the death of me. I cannot keep up with it for the life of me, because I only have been able to get out here every few days. And really with okra, you have to pick it almost every day, or at the very minimum every other day. And I did get some, and I pickled some with my own made-up pickling mix. Sorry, there's mosquitoes out here. I did make some up with my own pickling mix. I'm going to try one of those tonight at the end of the video, and we'll see how it came out. But I think what I'm going to do, just because I'm having such a hard time keeping up with these, I mean, here, look. Just a few days ago, this was like an inch long. Now it's so huge, they get kind of woody when they get real big. And a lot of these I won't probably be able to use. I might be able to use some for cooking up in a dish, but I definitely can't pickle them. And man, look at the Japanese beetles on here. They love these things. So I think what I might do is go through and just do a full picking, like get rid of all the big ones, take all the little ones I can pickle those, and then I'm just gonna clear these out. I know that they would probably still keep growing, because even with the Japanese beetles in here, they just keep blooming and new ones are coming on every day. But I'm the only one that likes okra in the house. I definitely planted way too many, and they're a cool plant to grow. Next year I'll probably grow just a few so that I can get some to pickle and try some with some dishes. But this was a bit overkill, I think, for this year. So I'm about ready to clear this bed out and make room for a fall garden to start in this bed and one other bed. So there's a lot of cool things that you can do with okra. I was reading that you can actually use the seeds to make flour out of. So it's something that I want to look into in the future and try different experiments with the different things that you can do with okra. But this year, because we've had so many other projects going on and I've been behind in a lot of the gardening stuff, I don't think this is going to be the year to do it. Too many projects going on at one time. So we'll clear this out, pick everything that's in there, and then plant some kale or something. You saw some of the pictures of the zucchini throughout this early part of the summer and how massive it was. But now you can see it's gotten kind of ugly. It's got downy mildew on a lot of leaves. It kills it off. And then look right here. I'm glad this is actually here. So this is squash for bug eggs. I don't know how that will come up on the thing. They're little tiny cluster of eggs there. And I see more on some of the other leaves, and these things will just, you know, they're gonna hatch and get down into your squash, and they just will kill off a plant quicker than you can imagine. But we have got so many zucchini out of this one 8x4 foot bed. We have piles of it inside that I still have a lot to do with, and I'm okay that the zucchini is basically done. I could plant more for a fall garden, but I don't think I need to. Look, I've got a couple more coming in right here, little ones. So I might give it another day or so and harvest it, and then this is the other bed I'm going to clear out, and I would like to plant some stuff for the fall garden, maybe some radishes, kale, cabbage, broccoli. I've got a lot of different types of seeds that would do good for a fall garden, so we're going to try some of that stuff and see what happens. The cucumbers have hit their peak. I'm actually going to pickle a bunch of cucumbers tonight, and I've already pickled some, and some of the pickles that I made came out awesome. And then, you know, that was from the Chicago pickling cucumbers. That was half of this bed, and then the other half were regular slicer muncher cucumbers. And there's still some coming in. Look, there's one. Let's see, I actually picked some tonight, but there's still a few more in here. This one's ready. So we got one there, and there's still a couple little pickling ones hanging in here. There's one right there. But these also, I think because it's been so hot, cucumbers don't do well with high heat. They're starting to die off, and we got quite a large amount of cucumbers out of these, and I think this will be the third bed that will become a fall garden. One thing that has done really well is our cucamelons. We have probably hundreds in here to pick because we did a basically 8-foot long bed, all of cucamelons, with a row going down either side of the cattle panel, and it is a total wall of cucamelons. And you can see, maybe, there's one. These leaves get out of the way. That's the problem with cucamelons. They're good at hiding. But there's one right there, but there's, you know, tons in there. They blend in really well with all the leaves. But we picked a few I don't know, a few days ago, and Mitzi added them to a cucumber salad. They taste a little bit like cucumbers, but they're very lemony. They're really good fresh. Man, they are so good pickled. So good. the elderberry. I think all these are going to become berries. Right here, they got these little knobs on them where the flowers used to be. I think they're going to turn out being berries. And we got this big one up here. Big batch of flowers. So it's pretty. It's got, this also has some Japanese beetles in here. They tend to just eat everything. But these, they smell good too. Not the beetles, the flower. The basil is still doing really well, growing here, down here, these two plants. I've picked little batches off here and there, added it to some salads and stuff, and I have some ingredients to make pesto, so I might try to do that. I've never made pesto before, so that'll be a new experience. Okay, so that's basically it, I think. The only thing I didn't show you was the cilantro, which is just getting ready to bolt now. I got to trim some of it back so we can save some of it before it all goes to seed. But cilantro came up really good, and we've harvested little bits of it, you know, as we wanted to eat some and stuff. And I have some drying inside as well. And I might cut down a bunch of it and maybe put it in the dehydrator if I can get to that as well. So many things to do, and it's, you know, when you're working full-time, it's hard to work all day and then come home and try to have to harvest, and then, you know, you want to process stuff normally within 24 hours of picking, otherwise stuff starts to go soft or bad. So with pickling and drying and everything, you don't want to leave it out too long. And you know, it's like harvest one night and make sure you get to it the next night, otherwise you're going to start losing stuff. So, you know, with some of the less hardy things like the cucumbers and the herbs, with squash you have there's a lot more forgiveness and time. It will stay good for a while sitting inside. And I've got some recipes I'm going to do with that lemon squash and the zucchini. And you know, again, like I said, hopefully these melons and kabocha squash hang on for me to do some stuff with those. So hope your gardens are going well. We'll do another update again with what will we do it up with? I guess we'll do an update with the fall garden as we start pulling some of this stuff out and putting in new seeds, and hopefully we'll get some more updates through, you know, first frost and later. So I hope all your gardens are doing well. Hope all your homesteads are doing well. I hope all of you are doing well. Have a great day. Namaste. Okay, so I said earlier when I was talking about the okra that I had pickled some jars of okra, and I just did refrigerator style, or no, I actually did water bath can these, but I wasn't sure how they were going to turn out, so I stuck them in the fridge. I only did a couple of jars as a test. This is a pickling liquid that I made up myself, off taking some of the stuff from the ball canning recipe, but I threw in my own stuff and left out some stuff because I didn't have all the ingredients. So it's been 1 week since I did these, and normally I prefer to wait 2 weeks for pickling stuff. Sealed tight. So normally I like to wait 2 weeks to try pickles, but I have eaten them after 1 week. But the flavor tends to meld more together once you've waited at least 2 weeks. So anyway, we're going to try one of these pickled okra. This is the first time I've ever eaten pickled okra. So let's see what happens here. A lot of dill. Smells good. They really lose a lot of their color once you have pickled them. But I don't know. Let's see. That's really good. The texture isn't quite what I wish it was a little bit more crisper, but I think from you know, the water bath canning, they tend to get a little softer. But my pickling liquid is the bomb. Holy cow. And, you know, everybody, when they talk about okra, they always talk about the slime. These aren't slimy. Oh, I hope I remember everything I put in this liquid, because, wow, this is really good. It's got a real sour, tart taste to it. I used apple cider vinegar in this, which is a little bit more crisp, I guess you'd say, than the regular white vinegar. And then I've got all kinds of spices in here. Okay, you should definitely pickle okra. You should add this to your pickling repertoire. It will be so worth your while. I mean, okay. I was thinking about ripping out the okra, but I need to get some more okra and make some more of these, because 2 jars is ain't gonna last me a couple of days. Do it. It's so good. Okay, bye.